Greetings and welcome. In this video lesson I'm going to teach you how to play bar chords. Basically a bar chord is a chord where your index finger acts as a bar and covers all of the strings, allowing the other fingers to make up the chord. And there's essentially two types of bar chords. There's the E form bar chord based on the E chord shape. And then there's the A form chord based on the open A chord. Alright, first things first. First thing I want to talk about is how to hold the guitar, because holding the guitar is very important so that you don't get tired playing. So first of all, you don't want it too high and you don't want it too low. Okay, you want it like a happy medium. So if you're sitting down and the guitar was like resting on your knee, that would be perfect. And you kind of want the neck to be angled up just slightly, and then also you want the guitar to be kind of away from you from about like 45-degree angle. Too far away, it's going to be difficult, and too close to you is going to be difficult. So you want like the happy medium, both in this axis and in this axis. Okay. The other thing to note here is that your wrist needs to be straight through the back of the forearm, through the wrist and through the knuckles. We want the angle. We don't want the angles to be like this or like this while we're holding our bar chords, but we want it to be a straight line while we're holding the guitar. And like I said, the index finger is going to cover all of the strings. So this chord here is a G chord, a G bar chord. It's an E form chord because it comes from the E chord when it's open. So basically all we're doing is we're moving up to the third fret here. The index finger here is the third fret. Now the root is on the low E string. So whatever note this is on an E form chord, that would be the name of the chord. So this would be a G chord, bar chord. Here's an A, B, C, D, F, and E. Okay, playing bar chords is probably one of the most difficult chords that a person can attempt on the guitar. I'm going to give you some tricks to make it easier to play these chords. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on my finger right where these little lines are, these little cracks in my finger, you know, from the bends, okay? Because what we don't want is we don't want the cracks, the folds in our fingers to line up with the strings, okay? Rather, we want the pads of our finger to line up with the strings. So I wrote those little lines on my finger, and I'm going to show you, whenever I place the bar chord down, you can kind of see that the cracks of my finger line up with the spaces on the guitar. Okay, so that means that the pads of my fingers are what are actually making contact with the strings and pushing the strings down. Again, you can see the gaps in the strings line up with the cracks of my index finger. Okay, so that's one of the tricks to getting clean sounding bar chords. Okay, another tip to playing effective bar chords is to make sure that these fingers are nice and curved, okay? Because what we want is we want the strings to not be touched. In other words, these fingers have to curve so that these strings go all the way up to the bar without being touched. If you don't have effective curves right there, what happens is you get some muting going on underneath here. In other words, if this finger is not curved and coming down perpendicular to the string, what happens is the flesh from underneath the pinky or these other fingers is going to touch the string and it's going to be dead. Okay, so we want big curves, a nice flat, strong bar for all the strings to ring clearly. All right, moving on to the A form bar chord. Again, the A form bar chord is a chord that's built with the root being on the A string. And it really is, it's essentially two fingers barred. So you have the index finger barring, and again, the same rule applies. In other words, the gap in the string is going to line up with the crack or the fold of my index finger. My ring finger is going to be responsible for getting the strings, the D, the G, and the B string. And what I like to do a lot of times is gang up with my middle finger on top of that. The other thing of note is that the top of the index finger is going to be muting the low E string. In other words, it's barely touching right there, killing that top string. So this would be a C chord if because this note is the root, and that's a C note. So this is a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, and an A. And again, it all starts from the open A position. The nice thing about these chords is that they're all movable. All you got to do is slide them up and down the neck. One of the tricks to sliding them up and down the neck is whenever you are going to slide, you're going to kind of relax your grip just ever so slightly, so I'm not pushing down, and then you slide, and once you're in the new position, then you push down. Again, you barely lift off so you can slide and then put your pressure to get the chord. You're not going to put your pressure down and then slide while you have pressure, because that's going to cause unnecessary fatigue to occur in your fingers. All right, finally I'm going to talk about playing major and minor chords using both the E form bar chord and the A form bar chord. Here is an A major bar chord. To make this chord minor, we're going to take the third and lower it a half step. All I need to do is simply lift that string and it lowers that pitch a half a step. So by lifting up my middle finger on an E form bar chord, the chord becomes minor. So that would be an A minor, B minor, C minor. Okay, on an A form bar chord, this here being a D chord because of this note being D, the third is going to be on this B string, so I need to lower the B string a half step to make this chord a minor chord. To do that, I need to refinger, and it looks like the A minor down here, right? But if I move it up here, it becomes whatever note this is, minor. This is a D minor, C minor, E minor. Okay, so you have major chords, minor chords on the A form bar chords, and you have major chords and minor chords using the E form bar chord. All right, there you have it. Good luck with bar chords.